All right, everybody. I've got a fun new asset to play with today, and I wanted to show you guys kind of how to use it. So, one of the things I've always enjoyed playing with and doing in both City Skylines 1 and City Skylines 2 now is building little golf courses. As somebody who lives in North America, we have about a billion of them wasting water. And they, for better or worse, they belong in our cities. So I've got a golf course asset for us to mess around with today. So you can find it under Parks and Recreation in the large sporting complexes. If you go in here, there's a golf course clubhouse. So it's kind of cool. I've made this to be really modular and use the game's vanilla systems. So you can technically build this completely without mods and get pretty good results. I do recommend at least Anarchy. It's not completely necessary, but I promise it makes it a lot more fun. So without further ado, let's do this. So go ahead and turn on snapping. And you'll see we start here with just a clubhouse. And I can go ahead and plop that down. And now if you want to, you could just leave a clubhouse and have not a lot going on. This adds attractiveness and basically functions sort of as a park and recreational space. But we'll go ahead and click on it here and we'll look down at all the upgrades. And you'll see we've got 2 pages of upgrades. You've got all of your greens and tee boxes and a driving range up here. So I've kind of separated this out where you build these by placing a golf green, a tee box, and a hole for every individual holes. So there are 11 different fairways, 5 different greens, 1 tee box, and then 3 bunkers, a golf kind of fence net, and then the driving range. So I think that the easiest way here is I'll just kind of show you how I would build one of these. So you'll kind of see here I've got some paths that come off of our central clubhouse here, and those are connectable with the game's in-game paths, which you'll use in just a minute, and I'll show you guys that. So let's get started here, and we'll place a tee box. So the tee box is a non-functional asset, just adds 5 attractiveness, doesn't do anything or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and plop that down here, kind of zoom in. Really cool here. Cheeks made some amazing little golfing props, which we're using all over here. So we'll place this tee box, and then now we're going to place a fairway. So I'll zoom out here a little bit. We're going to make sure and turn off snapping, otherwise it's going to want to grab to everything here. But the fairways are sort of bidirectional. You could use them in either direction to give yourself more variety. So I'm going to go ahead and place this down here. You'll see we've got a fairway. And then now we're going to grab a green. I'll go up here. I can just spin this into place and place this green wherever I want. And boom, we have a hole. And actually, I think I want to move my tee box to line up with things just a little bit easier. So we can just grab the tee box and move it just like that. So now I'll go back to our clubhouse. We'll do the whole process over again here. So we're going to grab another tee box, and this time I'll use this golf hole and go ahead and place it down right there. Grab another green. And so one of the things about these, and one of the things that's kind of, I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out how I wanted to do this, is that the game does not handle terrain well when dealing with such large assets. So we're working on a fairly flat space right now, but it's not completely flat. And the holes will actually go ahead and conform to the terrain. The paths, however, do not, and the paths are unfortunately necessary to make these functional. Um, what I've done too with the greens is that all of them are a little bit elevated here, the terrain. So if we zoom in, you'll see they come up off the ground, and that's because this whole blue circle here is actually terrain under the ground, so that if the hole is a little bit higher or a little bit lower, there's no weird gaps or anything like that. So we've got a couple holes here, so let's show you how I go ahead and connect them up. So I'm going to grab my path tools here, and this will work just like drawing any other pedestrian path. So we'll go ahead and kind of map this out as if we were making a real golf course here. like that, and just like that, that one is happy and connected. And we can drag these just like that. And you'll see now you've got a connected cart path. So just like a golf course in real life. So really cool, really easy, super detailed. And then let's go ahead and place our driving range. So I'll grab this, and it's just a little bit bigger of an asset, just like a driving range in real life would be, but I think this seems like a pretty good spot to have a driving range. And you'll see these come with fences. I think these look pretty good. The game doesn't love it with transparent meshes when you zoom out just a little bit, but I did my best to keep them looking pretty good the whole way. So let's go ahead and see what else we have to work with. So we have the fences just by themselves. So let's say that we have another hole that's over here by this road. We'd probably want to have a fence here that would protect this road here. Don't want any of the cars to get hit by golf balls. So you can see we can place those. Pretty cool. So now, let's say we've made our 18 or 9 holes and we want to make sure that everything feels a little bit more different and unique. We can grab any one of these 3 bunkers here. And one of the cool things we can do with these is, as long as the terrain is relatively flat, these bunkers can technically go anywhere. And you'll see that when I place them, it automatically digs a hole in the ground. So I'll show you, I'll do another one here. And zoom in here. I don't know what happened there. This one seems, train's a little bit glitchy around that one for some reason, but let's go back over here because this one is working perfectly. Again, kind of the game with really large stuff like this sometimes gets a little bit finicky. And what you can do too is you could grab any of these with Find It. So I'm just using the Find It selector tool here. And this actually means that I'm disconnected from the actual golf course asset now, which isn't a big deal for just these like detail pieces here. But let's say that now I want to place this. You'll see that it's not going to try to conform to the height of the clubhouse anymore. It just wants to be at its own height. So that actually worked really well. And then I can go through here and I can just delete this one. All right, so just like that. So the other kind of odd quirk with these is that for some reason they're not wanting to show trees. There are trees as part of the assets, but they're not always appearing. I think it's probably an anarchy issue. But if you, StarQ has a really cool mod here that allows you to kind of edit some buildings and stuff like that. And one of the things you can do is hit this randomize button here a couple times and our trees will come right back. Again, not sure why that's a thing, but there it goes. And of course you can always just place trees around too. So one of the things I'll like to do is once I finish up with the golf course, I'll go ahead and grab my tree brush here and I'll go ahead and turn anarchy off. And we'll go to a little bit larger size here. And I'll show you how easy this is to just go ahead and fill these in. So just like that, we now have the golf course. Oops. Probably want to make sure and get rid of a couple of the trees before in the tee box there, otherwise this is a pretty hard hole. But there we go. So really cool. Obviously, go ahead and make 18 holes just like this and you'll be in really good shape. Like I said, the kind of cool thing here is that these are all bidirectional. So you can see some of these holes are shorter. So this is more of like a par 3 length. Let's go ahead and turn anarchy back on. So here's more like a par 3. There's another little like par 3 size hole. There's a much longer one. We've got a dog leg to the right here. But more of an organic shape. There's a couple really long par 5s, which kind of really starts to show that the scale of this game can be a little bit off too. These holes are all to scale relative to real life golf courses. I believe this one is about, I want to say the fairway on this one's the longest hole, is a little over 300 meters, making it probably about 440 meters, maybe 500-ish yards, which is a pretty realistic length for a par five. But kind of if we zoom out here a little bit, you can start to see that this does stretch the realism just a little bit in the game. Kind of makes you really think about how large these courses are in real life. So, anyways, with kind of with that, that's about it. These are pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about them. I think it's something that we've been missing from the game. Um, oh, and kind of, I guess the big thing too is that these are fully functional. At least in the sense that Sims will come here. They will hang out at the clubhouse. They will exercise on the putting green, and then they will technically walk through the paths. They're not super likely to do it if you just leave it connected like this. However, I've noticed that if you connect the path to your road network or to just another path in the city and don't rely on just the clubhouse as the access point, then they're super likely to come out here and they'll hang around on the fairways and kind of use it for exercise and relaxation. All of these as assets are targeted for relaxation and park space, so they'll provide a leisure benefit and attractiveness. So it does fully function in your city, and Sims will use them. You'll see them walking around on the golf course, which is pretty cool. So I wish we could have some golfing animations, but we're not quite there yet. Maybe someday, and if that comes around, then we'll update these and make them even better. Um, I think kind of another thing too for some detailers out there is that the grass that I've used is custom. You can find that in the game as well. So this is the fairway grass, and then I've got grass that is the rough there. I think it matches pretty well with quite a few different themes. I'll swap some themes over here. So I think it looks pretty good with that one. And then obviously probably want to see it with vanilla, which is what I designed it for originally. And you'll see it blends really well with the vanilla grass there. But honestly, I think works pretty well with just about anything. I haven't played with it with the desert yet, but then again, golf courses and deserts jump out like a sore thumb anyways, so not a surprise there. So anyways, guys, that's it. I hope you guys enjoy it and have a lot of fun. And bye.